greetings. Thanks for joining me. Hope you're going to enjoy this. A beach floor is one of the most beautiful colour combination with the green in autumn. Although, you know, I do love my orange, green and pink. Spindle could be my emblem tree, couldn't it? Anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope that didn't cut out, because the microphone no longer works on my camera. I have no idea where that cut out and what I was saying. But I'm out filming. Well, I'm on an investigation. Sorry about the noise over there. I have no idea what that is. And look at this old tree. No idea what that was. Probably an old oak. Yeah, it's an oak. Ancient old oak. That was quite a few hundred years old. I've no idea when that went. I think that's been down, well, over 20 years. I don't remember seeing that. I'll just have a wander through here. I will be retracing my steps in a minute. But this is lovely, isn't it? These colours. And where we've been. Now I've been charged with the job of keeping these paths open and basically looking after this wood in a certain, you know, for a certain amount, really, because I love this wood. It's a wood I've known for a long time. Oh yeah, stuff to cut around here. Oh, there's quite a lot of work. Okay. Bite-sized pieces and it will get done. Won't it? You can see how steep that is. You really can. I'm not going to go down that way, because if I go down there, it only means I have to come up again. And I'm not in the mood for climbing at the moment. So we're going to go back this way. But I despair sometimes of men. It's like, what is it that possessed men to spend their time fighting over stuff? Now sure, when food is sparse, fine. You can understand people fighting over their bit of land. But what was it? That made them do that? You know, according to mainstream belief, there weren't that many people on the earth. Although there are things to indicate otherwise. Various structures that exist today that can't be explained how they were constructed, for example. what's going on here? Oh, that's a whole tree. A whole, well, actually that's a branch. There you go. I talk about hazel and how it splits off. There you go, there's one doing it. Or done it, even. Yeah, but what was it? What happened? So instead of creating and making beautiful and living in harmony, we've got a world where we live in conflict. Now I know people can say, yeah, but the powers that be now, they're keeping us in conflict because they control everything. Well, yeah, okay. That's now, yeah. And you can, if you look back at history and facts, you'll see that certain people were involved in every aspect of doing things 100 years ago, just over 100 years ago. 100 to 200 years ago is when it all changed. Something happened. But you know, if you have a hand in every aspect of a thing, whatever it is, then you have control, don't you? You have power. You can wield your power. And leaves the people stuffed. I mean, before you go into, sorry to be vague, but we now live in a world where you can't speak the truth. You can't say things. You have to be cryptic. Which arguably is one of the tricks of all this. You keep people from speaking the truth. You don't change anyone's mind. Thus the status quo is kept. And the order remains. Now I'm not giving names. If I was to say, no, I'm not going to give any vague clues. Yeah. But once you start looking into things, even accidentally, you end up coming across stuff that go, oh, right, so that's why that is. And it's all relevant today. You know, it may feel like it's happened, you know, decades ago, but it's not that far. And then, of course, once you're on the wrong path, and the whole infrastructure of life and the way we live is geared to that path, you're in trouble. Because you have to then do things, you make your decisions based on keeping that path as it is. Which is not a good thing, is it? I mean, you know, you can speak to anyone really and ask them for their, you know, what they really think, what they really feel. And basically, many people feel that this is the end times, or these are the end times. Even if they're not a conspiracy theorist, For some reason, many people believe that we're reaching the end. Now, what would make someone, or make a lot of people think that? Now, we're about to go through a beautiful section here. That's just leaves me speechless, that bit. Yeah, there's evidence to suggest that many centuries ago, thousands and thousands of years ago, we all lived in harmony. We weren't scurrying around living in caves unless it was absolutely necessary. Now, the interesting thing is that all over the world there are various underground cave systems big enough to support thousands and thousands of people all over the world. Now, you don't hear much about them, which is interesting, isn't it? Now, loads of your history, or our history, we don't get taught. It's kept hidden. You know, if there was no point to it, why were people living in caves? What was going on above in order for them to have spent their time carving out the underground when we have this beauty above us? And what I'm speaking about isn't any kind of, hasn't got any kind of agenda behind it. I'm just talking about the facts. If what you're told doesn't make sense with what's there, you know, your head knows when something is wrong. You know when you're being lied to. You know when there's something not quite right about a situation or a person. You know. And that's partly one of the things. Yeah, we have these instincts which are to guide and help our higher self and steer us through life, protecting us, keeping us out of trouble, stopping us from harm, keeping us from harm. That's what they do. That's what your higher self does. It could be argued that most of the problems in the world are caused by people who haven't healed yet. And by most, I mean all. But what is the point of perpetually being in conflict? The joy that comes from sharing and being together and helping each other out is far greater than any kind of greed enjoyed alone. Because what I've noticed is that all greed involves some kind of control in some form or another, often control over people, in order to maintain that. And it could be argued that that greed and power is all through insecurity. I mean, the amount of times that men, usually, because of the way the world is, that it's a lot harder for women to do this kind of thing. But if a man sees a car broken down at the side of the road, and especially if it's got a woman in it, they will go and ask if she's okay. Because generally speaking, people want to help each other. Obviously there are those despicable people who take advantage of people in trouble, and I would argue that that's a result of their own situation and the way that they've been treated, that they haven't really looked into that and fought against their lower instincts. Yeah, we all struggle from time to time to, to do the right thing, as opposed to do the things we want due to our own greed. No one's exempt from it. Yeah, we all have our own inner battles, and that's because of the way we live and the way things are. Now, I've mentioned this before, but if you've ever been to, maybe not nowadays, because we have a generation of people who think that everything's about money and then go to a festival and have a good time, get off their face, forget what their life. But there was a time when going to a festival meant, as well as that, it was an opportunity to get on with people, to have a community that worked outside of the law to a certain extent. And once you've experienced that, and people helping each other out, sharing, doing something, because what I found was that whatever was going on, people didn't want to just sit there while other people did the work. They didn't want to, if someone had cooked, they were going to go and wash up. If someone had gone and done something else, someone else was going to go and get firewood. Someone else was going to look after the fire. There was a sharing for the good of all. And that comes from a lower, a place where, I don't know, a primal thing, a well-being spring of being good and sharing. It brings joy. By Jove, it brings joy. I suppose it could be argued that, or it could be shown that at certain times Jupiter's not helping us out. Now I think we have to, yeah, we have to go up here in a minute. Go up there. Now maybe I'll I'd love, I have done it. Crawling through there, interesting. This is wild and witchy, isn't it? Can I get closer from that? Ooh. I'll try not to fall down the slope or shake the camera too much. I really do wish someone would film me filming. Well, we're going to leave this Middle-earthian path, well, briefly, because in order to get round we have to go up through here, which involves a bit of ducking and diving. I am tempted to make it as a new path, but I don't think that would be a good idea, because we can, or I can, make it so that we can still walk through the old path. So that'll be good, won't it? Look, field maple leaves, not in the yellow with which I sing about. Sorry, I slipped there. Now I have to go down here and we'll meet the path again. There we go. It's really hard to stop once you're going at a certain speed because it's slippy, so sudden stops are not sensible. Go skidding off down into the spring basin. Now here we are. Last of the Middle-earth trees. It's a special section, this really is. Even with that, it's still a special section. I have yet to work out why, unless it is these trees. It could be, couldn't it? Why not? Why not indeed? I thought I saw an interesting fungus, but it's not. It's candle snuff, which you'll have seen before. Now here's some there. Oh. Now, can we see that? Yeah, I've had to go at an angle to get that. I want to be careful because doing that can then end you in out of time. Ooh. Now I did notice something here on this moss. That's oxalis. Now it can be eaten. It's got a very lemony taste. But one thing I will say is that foraging needs to stop unless it's something that is just prolific and grows everywhere. Woodland foraging needs to stop, but that's another video. And while I'm talking about this subject, and I know we've gone away from the original thing, is that I see people taking photographs of fungus that they're not going to eat, but they've already picked it. They've already effectively destroyed the mycelium and prevented it from sporing, just for a few likes on Instagram. Stop it. It means it won't spread, the mycelium's damaged. It's a big problem now. Anyway, so all these things that we're given to battle us, you know, Democrat, Republican, Brexit, sexuality, all kinds of things like that just keep us stuck. But something must have happened way back to cause people fighting. I mean, one of the stories, it was Atlantis and Lemuria. Or was it Mu? I can't remember now, because I thought those two were the same, but Mu's in the Pacific and Lemuria is in the Indian Ocean. And that, again, that's something that, you know, that someone has discovered a link between Madagascar and Sri Lanka that doesn't exist anywhere else and can't exist anywhere else. Anyway, I'm going off the rails a bit there. Has that horrible sound just stopped? Now I'm nearly back. Yeah, so if anyone's got any thoughts as to why? Is it that, I don't know, what is it? What is wrong with men that they need to go and do that? What is wrong with people? I mean, okay, the studies show that listening to aggressive music is more often done by people who are very emotional and highly intelligent. Certain types of music. Because it's a way to, a cathartic way. It's cathartic. It gets it out, doesn't mean you're going to do anything. Same as, you know, violent video games. Do they do the same thing? I mean, the problem is not the game, it's the ability to not go and do some of those things in real life, isn't it? Yeah, if you've lost the ability to discern, then there's a problem. But the story goes that Lemuria, or Mu, maybe it was Mu in Atlantis, but one's in the Pacific and one's in the Atlantic. Anyway, it would explain certain, what should we call it, certain isotopes that don't appear naturally have been found in various places. And it indicates that at some point back in our past, and at some point in time, there have been nuclear wars on this planet. And that is very relevant today with what is going on. I mean, it is one way of completely wiping stuff out. You know, I don't know about all this, but that I've talked about, but I do know that these places exist. I mean, I myself live on an underground world, and I know that exists. But what its point is, what its purpose is, you know, okay, it's military now, but was it? Was it military? Was it something else that the military have taken over? Or was it so far down that the military have only taken up some of the higher levels? Don't know, but there's a lot of things that are unexplained, aren't there?